let's say that somebody is going through the divorce process. Obviously, they meet with their attorney. They're getting legal counsel as well too. When they meet with you, what should they expect in meeting with you?
The very first thing when I am referred a client, most of the clients that come to me, I'm referred to directly from family law attorneys. And the ones that I work with frequently know that, again, the earlier they wrap me in, the better. So the minute I get on a call with someone, I first thing I try to do is navigate through where are we at in the case. Are we at the initial stages? Are we approaching maybe a mandatory settlement conference? Are we close to finalizing a stipulated judgment? Are we going to trial? And the reason that's important is I need to know the timeline. Like, what are we working with? And have any agreements already been made? So I kind of have to tear the whole um, puzzle apart to kind of rebuild it and figure out where we're going from there. So the very first thing I do is that, and then I start to gather their personal income documentation, running their credit, things of that nature. And then I look at what all is on the table. Is there a potential for child support or alimony, paying or receiving? Is there a retirement fund that is maybe up for equalization? Are there other properties that we need to contend with that you might be on as well? Are there claims that of separate assets that maybe they acquired a property prior to marriage and then they commingled it? There are a lot of things that we kind of look through, and then once I've gathered that data and I kind of get an idea of what we're trying to achieve, because at the end of the day I need to ask the client, what are you wanting to achieve? Is your hopes to stay in the property, or are you wanting to potentially maybe sell and then be prepared for a purchase down the road? Once I've navigated through that, I will usually pick up the phone and speak to the family attorney and get some additional background information. Sometimes they'll know kind of where the negotiations might end up. Is opposing party a little bit more amicable to come up with certain agreements so that I can give advice.
Perfect. Okay. That's pretty helpful right there in its own. I mean, being able to just understand the situation and then at that point be able to guide them in the right direction. Now,
Well,
if
the other thing it does too is if an attorney is going to throw out an offer, let's say to opposing party for an equity buyout refinance to be done, it's very helpful for them to be able to prove and say, look, whether it's opposing counsel or maybe even if they're in court and the judge and say, my client has already been pre-approved for a refinance, so they absolutely do qualify.
uh,
If I were in that situation, I would feel much better agreeing to it if I know they'd already taken the steps to navigate through that.
yeah, as opposed to agreeing, have you ever seen it where they agree to refinance but then they come to you and for whatever reason it's not possible?
Well, that's really why I got involved in this. I mean, it's been 7, 9 years now, but as an underwriter, that is what I saw so frequently. I would have clients come in post judgment with orders that were either completely just impossible to follow or handcuffed a client in a certain way, sometimes based on just the verbiage that they have in the orders. So I really saw firsthand the breakdown between the two worlds and how they collide. They don't understand each other, and
Mhm.
realized that I needed to get out there and just, ingrain myself into the family law community and do as much education as I possibly could.